Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in with me, your girl Zesty and the Zesty Pooh crew. So today is going to be a bit of a short video, but it's going to be some good stuff. So today I'm making a Cajun Alfredo pasta. And what I have here is I cut up a whole orange bell pepper. I cut up a half of a green bell pepper and a half of a red bell pepper. And I also cut up a small yellow onion. And I'll have the recipe down in the description bar. So to make my sauce, I'm going to use cream cheese. I'm going to use Romano cheese as well as Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to shred that. Those will too be in the description boxes. And I'll get to how I'm going to make the sauce whenever I start making the sauce. It's pretty easy. And I am going to use chicken breast as well as some spicy sausage. I use the whole pack. I always like to cut the ends off of it. And then I have probably about, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 cloves of minced garlic. As far as my seasoning, I have paprika. I have some blackened season. I have some onion powder, my holy grail, and some garlic powder. And then today I have your slap your mama seasoning. I'm going to try this. I never use it in Alfredo. I usually use it in my seafood boils. And then I have some Old Bay. So let's get into washing these chicken breasts, and I'm going to season them up, and then we're going to get started on our Alfredo. So into this, I forgot to say black pepper earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut each chicken breast in half. So each chicken breast is going to be 2, and these are the bigger ones. And you don't have to pound them out. You can if you want to. I'm cooking mine in a cast iron skillet. So what I'm going to do, I don't mullet mine out, but I take a knife and I just kind of cube it. I like to cube it so that way I can get flavors all in the grooves and the crevices of my meat. You don't have to go overboard. Just take you a knife. Don't cut all the way through. This is a technique that I actually got from one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Manchi. She cooks a lot of Korean cuisine. And she was making, I think, chicken katsu or pork katsu. She was making something, and she took her knife and she pretty much just cubed it. And I just thought this was a better technique because you're getting creases when you season it. And then when you get sauce, it's getting all in the grooves of there. Then you just turn it over and you just repeat the process. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to season the chicken. But before I do, I wanted to show you, I'm using 1 pound of regular spaghetti. Feel free to use whatever pasta you want. I don't like the linguine noodles. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So first I'm going to start with my onion powder. And I'm going to go liberal here with the powders. You don't want to go too liberal with the salty products. Like I'm not going to put Slap Your Mamas on the chicken. I'm just going to put it in my sauce. Because Slap Your Mamas is a little salty. But I go liberal with my garlic powder. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. If you don't know, now you know. All right. So we're going to get that in. And then see all the little crevices. It's going to have loads of flavor in there. That's why I say you don't want to go too hard on the saltier products because then all those crevices is going to be salty. You don't want your dish to be salty. You just want it to be bursting with flavor. Now I'm going to add the Old Bay, and I'm just using a regular Old Bay. And like I said, I'm not going to go too crazy with the Old Bay. And y'all, I eyeball mine. I don't have any measurements for my seasoning. You can create your own seasoning, blackened, by just using, a couple of different Cajun. I'm not going to do all of that as far as like measuring because you like what you like, right? Whatever you have on hand that's Cajun, use it. Or make your own. There's tons of stuff out there to make your own Cajun seasoning. Pinterest is my best friend, I think. Google, Pinterest, whatever. So now we have that. So now I'm going to put some of this Zataran's blackened season on there. That's where I'm going to get the blackened from on my meat. You don't have to use this. You can make your own blackened season. I just like the way it makes my chicken pop. I like the spiciness I get from it. It's salty, but not too salty. It's like perfect. And honestly, you really can just use this as your blackened season. I have done that. It's just for this particular recipe, I like the flavor of Old Bay in it. I don't have any seafood in it, but I have used shrimp in the past. Alright. Now I'm just going to put paprika. Paprika is really for the color. To give it that blackened or that Cajun feel. I like my paprika. I like my chicken to look Cajun. And honestly, if it look Cajun, it's gonna convince you that it's Cajun. So if you use just a blackened season, you put some paprika on that bad boy, and you got yourself a Cajun piece of chicken. Now the last thing I'm gonna add is black pepper. Don't go too crazy with the black pepper, because black pepper can make your food hot. I'm lifting off. I'm not close while I'm sprinkling it. And like I said, you don't have to use black pepper. I want mine to be a little spicy, but not overkill. The blackened season has a little spice to it, but it's not crazy. And that's it. So now we're going to go to our cast iron skillet. And we're going to fry these. Not deep fry, but we're going to cook them in some butter and a little olive oil. And we're going to get to it. So this is my cast iron skillet where I'm going to cook the chicken. I've added probably about a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. And you can add more or less in between. This is like what I let it get brown because I like my chicken breast to have that golden crust on it. So I'm just going to let this get a little bit more browner. And don't overcrowd your pan because what'll happen is the steam won't allow it to get that golden brown crust. All right, so my pan is hot. Now you see that it's turned brown. Lay it in there. And I'm probably going to do 4 chicken breasts at a time. Again, don't overcrowd your pan. And I have it on a medium heat. So we're going to give it about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then we're going to turn it. Don't mess with it. Just let it sit. All right, so it's been 5 minutes. Look at that crust. Look at that crust. Now that, ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh wee, baby, ooh wee. All right, so another 5 minutes, and that should set us free, and we're gonna cook the next batch. And then after we cook the chicken, I'm gonna use the same pan. I'll probably wipe it out just a little bit, but to keep those flavors going, I'm gonna cook my sausage in here, and then my vegetables, and then my sauce. So this is gonna be Flavor Town, USA, y'all. All right, so now that the chicken is done, so that way I don't lose all the flavor from earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply scrape some of the bits from the chicken. Now, if I were making the sauce right after, I would use these. But for the sake of it not burning, because it will burn after it's been cooking so long, usually this makes the best gravy. I'm going to be honest with you. But we're not going to use that for gravy today. And now, to keep that flavor going, I'm going to cook the sausage in the same pan. Get that bit out of there. And because I'm using a cast iron, it's pretty visible and easy to scrape off of there. So now I'm going to just add my sausages. And I'm going to cook these until they're brown. I like mine to be brown, so I like to lay them down in there. And I probably give them about 3 minutes on each side since they're cut. I don't like them to shrivel up too much. The sausages will shrink. All right. So now that we have those in there, we're just gonna let them cook. Let them cook real good. I might hit it with just a little bit of, no, I'm not gonna put an olive oil in it because we still have a little bit of butter and the remnants from the chicken. So I think we have enough oil in there to go off of. So now that the sausage has been cooking for a couple of minutes, then you just flip them over. This process is probably a tedious process because I have so many. But I try not to overcook them. I like this color of my sausages. I like that color. So as you can see, they're turning a little brown. They've been cooking for probably maybe about 3 minutes. I think this is enough. I think this is good. Because like I said, I don't want them to shrink. And once I put that sauce in them, they're already cooked, really. I just like to get that brown flavor. So I think this is pretty good. And now to this pan, the same pan, without wiping it out, without taking anything out. Because remember, I've already got those bits from the chicken that could potentially burn if you keep those in. Being that I had to make 2 more things, the sausage and the vegetables. This right here, this oil should take us to where we need to get to with those vegetables. You might need to add a little bit more butter. So to this, I have about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. And you're just going to plop that right in there. And you don't want to cook this too long. You just want it to get it where it's flagrant. And see those bits from the sausage? It's coming up. This is why I took the chicken bits out, because that would have been too much. These bits are going to be, now these bits right here is what's going to make that sauce pop off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deglaze my pan with just a little bit of butter, because I want my vegetables fairly soft. I'm adding in more butter. And then those cut vegetables that I had earlier, I'm adding these to the pan right in there. So while the vegetables are cooking, I want them to get a bit soft, and you see the moisture that's accumulated. That's gonna all go in part with the sauce. So after these are done, getting to the desired consistency that I like in mine. If you like a more bite, you don't have to cook them down. I like mine just a little soft, not too soft, just soft with a little bite is what I would say. So I like to cook mine down. Not until they get soft, because then I don't want them mushy, but you know, just a little bite. So I've already cooked my pasta al dente. And I cooked it earlier because I'm actually taking it to my cousin's house for her birthday. What I'm doing is I've added about a tablespoon of butter to the same pot that I cooked it in. I rinsed out the starch and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss the noodles in this butter. So that way, whenever I add the cream sauce to it, it's going to already be hot. So that I don't want to, because these noodles are fairly cool. So I'm going to toss them in butter to give them a little flavor, as well as to separate them. Because when you cook them al dente, they kind of stick together a little bit because they're not done all the way, which is perfect. That's what you want, because the cream sauce is going to finish cooking them. Because you're going to layer that thing on right on there. Not layer. You're going to lay it on there while it's piping hot. So this is where some of the magic is going to happen. So to this same pan where we just took the vegetables out, we want to add in some butter. I'm going to say probably about 2 tablespoons of butter. As well as I'm going to add about 4 ounces of cream cheese. And I have my cream cheese to room temp just so it would be easier with melting. I'm tossing my noodles in the butter sauce over here if you guys hear a lot of noise. And literally all you do is just toss it in there like as if you're going to make a garlic butter noodle or something like that. You're just tossing it in there so that way these noodles can be piping hot. And you don't need to put any seasoning on the noodles. So now I'm going to plop my cream cheese right. Actually, I can just squeeze it in there. And with the noodles, you don't want to burn them. You just want to get them warm. Toss them in that warm butter. Just until they're like coated, you know. And it's not a whole lot of butter. Just enough to get them separated as if you're going to serve it like that. So, with the cream cheese, you just want to get it in that butter. Get it to melting. I actually had to get a whisk because my cream cheese was melting faster than I anticipated. So now I'm going to use a cup of chicken stock. And we may have to add more along the way. And you want to get as many of those bits at the bottom of that pan as you can. That's your flavor right there. All your flavor coming out from under there. I'm also going to put in a half a cup of wine. You can use cooking wine or you can use like a cheap white wine. I have oak leaf here. You don't want to cook your sauce too fast. And again, if you need to add in some more chicken stock as you go, feel free to do that. I also have 2 cups of grated Parmesan Reggiano. I think I'm saying it wrong. I'll put it in the description. I never can pronounce it. It's Parmesan Romano. That is, you know what? I'm losing my head today. Also, you're going to add a cup of heavy whipping cream. You want to put a cup of that. This is where you're going to get your creaminess from. And this is going to be going in. Oh, yeah. Now this is where you want to season it. You want to season it before you put your cheese in. Because once you put your cheese in, it's pretty much done. So to this, I'm going to put, I'm going to start out with a teaspoon. And season it to your like. I'm going to start out with a teaspoon of Slap Your Mamas. Maybe 2 teaspoons. Probably about a teaspoon of that Blackened season. By zatarans. And I'm going to taste it to my liking. And you do the same. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's perfect. I'm probably going to add probably about a ½ teaspoon of Old Bay. Just for the flavor. I'm also going to put in some onion powder. About a ½ teaspoon. Maybe about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm also going to put in some paprika just for color. Just to give that Cajun feel. And I'm just eyeballing this. And again, taste it as you go. You do not want to add tablespoons and then be looking at me sideways like I did something. Alright, so that cream sauce is on the money. So now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the cheese. Well, what I'm going to do, since my noodles are already prepped, I'm going to put my noodles in my serving dish. Now we're going to begin to slowly add in that cheese. And I'm going to use a whisk the entire way. I'm not going to add my vegetables in until last. You don't want to use the cheese in a bag. If you use the cheese in a bag, you're not going to get the same consistency. It has a protective mechanism on the cheese, and I think it's for like preserving the cheese or whatever. But the grated cheese is so much better, and it's so much easier to work with. And you want to turn your heat down so that way it doesn't clump up too fast, because it's going to clump up here and there. It may not. I don't know. I like to use my whisk so that way I can keep it separated. Now what I'm going to do, I added a little salt and pepper on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those vegetables, and they're still hot. And I'm also going to add in my sausages. And all the juice and all the stuff that comes with it that is sitting in, all of that needs to go on there. Believe me, you're going to appreciate it later. Flavor Town, USA. So once you get to a nice bubbling sear, that's when you want to add this sauce right onto the noodles. I want to show y'all the noodles, how easy it is to work with whenever you do the butter thing. They're already separated. See? All right. So this is the consistency that I want my sauce. See? It's not too thick, not too thin. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our sauce. Right on there. It's all mixed up in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just putting all the chicken on top of the pasta. And I could have kept it whole, but because we're serving this at a party, I like to have it to where everybody can get chicken and, you know, all the stuff that comes in the pasta. But this flavor doesn't end here, y'all. I am going to pour the juices that the chicken was sitting in. I'm going to pour it right over the pasta. That's just the from where the chicken was sitting in after it was done, that butter, a little of that oil. I'm just going to pour it right over there. You will never, and I mean never, eat another dry Alfredo again after making this. So I'm just going to hit it with a little slap your mama season. Not much. You don't want it salty. You do not want this salty. It will mess up everything we just put in there. So I'm also going to top it with some pepper. This is just to get that Cajun aspect because the chicken breast is seasoned down. And also I'm going to grate a little bit more Parmesan on the top. And it's just going to melt right into that chicken. And so, where's my Parmesan? All right. And you don't want to do a lot. Just grate it over. So that way it can just marry in with those flavors. Oh, God. Okay, your Cajun Chicken Alfredo. It's going to be bomb, y'all. And to top it off, I'm going to give it a little secret sauce. And that's just my parsley. And that's just for decor. Parsley doesn't taste like anything. It just looks good. It's my secret sauce. That's my secret sauce. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. Look at that. And it stays wet. I love it. I want you to see this. Look at that. Look at that. Flavor Town. Flavor Town, USA. Ooh. And when it sets, it's going to be 10 times better. We're going to have this probably in about, I'm going to say about 3 hours from now. So this is going to be untouchable. I'm going to actually put it in the oven on warm, covered, because I don't want it to keep cooking. It's already cooked, but I want it to set. I want it to set in really, really, really nice. Well, with that being said, if this is your first time at my channel and you want to see more of what I have to give and you've enjoyed yourself, which I hope you have. For those of you who are just now visiting, please hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell so that way you can see more content each time I upload it. I love y'all. I enjoy meeting with you guys. I have got to go. I want to read a positive quote. I want to remind you to continue to love out loud. When I say I love y'all, I mean it. From the depths of my soul, I enjoy this, y'all. I love it. I'm going to keep it coming. All right, guys, I have a good one. It's about forgiveness. It says, forgiveness is not a weakness. It is a choice to rise above the temptation to go down the pit of misery so that I can experience true emotional and mental freedom. And I received this affirmation from 45 forgiveness affirmations to let go of pain and find freedom. And with that being said, guys, y'all love out loud. I love y'all so much. And until next time, y'all have a wonderful day.